order to get the positive outcomes from the system. Through the use of aerobics, the student was able to transition to mainstream learning activities and gain greater use of the technology as a result of that. We eventually moved off of the touch monitor completely to only use the mouse. We take a look at a student with communication challenges. This particular student had trouble with nonverbal communication, had trouble using expressive language, so there was really a lack of communication between the child and the adults. As a result of the lack of communication, there's a great deal of avoidance behaviors that was demonstrated by the child. So the recommendation by the assistive technology team and an outside specialist was to put into place something called a picture exchange communication system. This system was developed back in 1985, which teaches students how to communicate through the use of pictures. And they see the picture, they're able to point to it, and they're able to express to the next person what it is they're trying to communicate. Well, through the use of that system, the student used and eventually learned how to communicate their basic needs and wants to the adults. As a result of being able to communicate, the avoidance behaviors decreased. So as those avoidance behaviors decreased, the student was able to become further engaged in learning in the classroom and able to participate in the learning activities. As the student got older and more needs were there and progressed through that device, we eventually moved towards a more advanced augmentative communication system, which combines voice output with a dynamic display beyond what the original device had in mind. And eventually, as the student got to high school, we were able to provide even a simpler and a more portable device to use out in the community and as life skills in the world. And while the student might not have the voice skills to communicate, this student has learned how to use these technology devices to communicate with other people and to be a productive person and organized and be able to learn. And that's the eventual point of this. Take a look at a student with good comprehension, yet had struggling issues with decoding skills. The recommendation by the team was to provide access to aerobics for a different reason than the other student we talked about a few minutes ago. As I said, aerobics is dependent on a set pattern and usage. And after 3 months, we began to see that the student had increased ability to decode. It's at that point that we recommended a website that we have for a set number of our students called One More Story. What One More Story is, it's a web interface that provides students access to children's literature. It combines illustrations and original text in a physical book, and the only difference is now it reads to the children. And the students are able to see the words in front of them highlighted as the voice is reading the stories. What's interesting is that we talked a few minutes ago about how there's a synergy between assistive technology and general education technology, and sometimes one leads the way for the other. As a result of the successes we had with One More Story, we ended up purchasing a site license to another subscription service for all 3 elementary schools, so for students all to have access to a similar interface where students can hear and read the literature and hear it on the computer screen at the same time. And this is an example where one AT, assistive technology, has led the way and pushed the envelope in technology for all students.
Is that only in the school, or can they do that at home?
School and home.
Okay.
In fact, the subscription for One More Story was for these individual students was for home access, and the subscription we purchased for this other system was also to allow students access at home as well.
Okay. What was that other one called?
It's called Tumble Books, Tumble Library. As the student grew more independent, there was a greater confidence in the student, which we saw. And as a result of the greater confidence, the student became more of an independent learner, self-confidence rose, and self-esteem rose. And as a result of the self-confidence and self-esteem, the student was able to participate in the learn activities, which is important. Let's take a look at a 5th grade student that had extremely messy handwriting. And as somebody that has always had messy handwriting, I can appreciate this. His handwriting was very messy, and if he needed to write a great deal, he grew fatigued very, very quickly. He liked to learn, but he got very frustrated when the teacher asked him to do a lot of writing. In fact, he said one day, "My hand starts to hurt when I write for a long while." So the metacognition, the ability to tell us where his frustrations were, helped us see what direction we needed to go with assistive technology. So we took a look at how could he translate note-taking to a device that would help him participate at the level he needs to be. And as a result of not being able to handwrite, and he got fatigued with that, his behavior in class became disruptive. So not only was he disrupting his own learning, but he was disrupting the other students in the class. So we decided to provide him with a portable word processor for handwriting, and he actually took them to class. And immediately, his behavior improved. He became cooperative. He was actively engaged in the learning process. And now he uses this portable word processor for all his classroom activities and his homework. And he uses it as a planner as well as an organization tool. In fact, the student said after we began using this device that I don't get frustrated as much anymore. I'm better with my academic organization and completing assignments. Once again, the student is able to tell us how this has impacted their learning. If you take a look at a student that struggled with dyslexia, the amount of independent reading was increasing at a steady rate, and was not able to, the student was no longer able to keep pace with the reading amount that was required for the course the student was in. So we took a look at how and what we could provide the student at home so that they were able to complete all the homework assignments and do all the reading for the class. So we knew the student was interested in learning, and we took a look at what could help the student. So we began to use a piece of software called Kurzweil, which is a text-to-speech reader. Similar to the One More Story, but now we can take any text that we have, and we can scan in textbooks, we can scan in novels, and Renee can attest to the hours she spent converting text to the Kurzweil system. And the beauty of it is, if I'm more attentive to a male voice and you're more attentive to female voice, we can change the voice patterns that the student hears. We can change the pace of the reading. So if I need to hear it at a slower pace, I can change the pacing of how it's read to me. As it's being read, I can see one word at a time, or I can see an entire sentence at a time. I can also stop the reading at any point, and I can insert notes. So now at the very end of this reading, I can pull out in an outline format everything that I've taken notes of about that reading. First of all, while they're reading that system, you can take notes directly in it and pull out your notes from the reading within the text. So it's a very powerful system. We've had it for a number of years, and we've had it for a number of years because of the success we've had with it. The complicated part is that textbooks don't all come in that format. So we've got to convert all the text that we have, which takes time. So it's page by page that converts it. So it's a labor-intensive process. And it has to be done on a custom basis for each child that needs access to it.
Does an assistive technology like this reduce the motivation for a child to learn to overcome their disability?
Does it increase or decrease?
Reduce the motivation.
I believe that it increases the motivation to learn because now the frustration of not being able to read it.
But to overcome their disability.
It gives them the skill set to apply later on in life. So in other words, there's a number of different pieces of software that they'll be able to have access to as they get older that can do similar functions.
How is that available to them at home?
That's a very good question. For those students that have Kurzweil, that's in their IEP,